Oh, hello. This is going to be my out-of-box review for the HGUC Blue Destiny Unit 3 exam. This is obviously the third version of the Blue Destiny out in the HGUC line, and they're all pretty much the same. I reviewed the first one, and I skipped to the second one, and now I'm going to be reviewing the third one here again for you guys. The second one I thought was just too similar. There just kind of wasn't really any point, and you could pretty much say the same thing for this one as well. The base mobile suit is pretty much exactly the same as the Unit 1 as well here, but this time we have it in a very 8th MS team ground Gundam looking color scheme for the most part, and I mean, just the whole design in general is very similar to the ground Gundam. But of course, it's tricked out in a few different ways, and of course the main tricking out is coming with the exam system, which is not something that really exists in terms of the model kit. I guess maybe aside from like the color of maybe the clear part for the eyes, but otherwise that's just kind of like in canon stuff. So as far as the model kit goes, yeah, it's going to be pretty similar in terms of its exterior look to the ground Gundam. But which version of those you like the best between the Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, I can pretty much say that they're all going to be recommended. They're all pretty nice, just based on my experience with this one and with the Unit 1. They're also, if you recall, using parts from the ground GM, so it has that going for it as well. That was a fantastic kit, so you can't really go wrong with that. And before we get into it, I just want to say, as always, a huge thank you to SA Gundam Store for supplying me with this kit to share with you guys. Do check the link to their site down below. You can get this kit and anything else on their site. You can use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10 to save yourself 10%. Okay, so let's get in and have a closer look at the kit here. Let's just point out the stickers first. There's this little yellow and black triangle there on the chest, the two on the knees, and then one on the back skirt here. And then we have a few dark blue stickers here in the center. That's a dark blue part at the top of the front skirt, and then in the center part there, that's a little dark blue sticker. We have the sticker for the eyes and the camera on the front and the back of the head. For those of which you have two different options, you have just the regular green ones, and then you have red ones as well. I went with red for the exam mode just to be, I don't know, different. Without green, that's just too boring, so we'll just make it in exam mode. It's going to look a bit odd when I have the mobile suits kind of... There's a few parts that you're sort of supposed to change for the exam mode. It's going to look odd with those not changed, and with the eyes and head cameras in exam mode. I realize for those of you guys who are like really sticklers about canon stuff, that might bother you, but sorry about that. Last couple of stickers here are just here on the backpack. You'll see this white part here. It's kind of unfortunate they didn't make this as separate parts. That would really would have been nice if this was just a separate little white part you just popped onto there. But unfortunately, it's not. So you have like actually two stickers. One sticker that's set inside of there, which will give you like the black in the center and then the white around the inside of that part, and then one white sticker which wraps around the outside. And as you can see here, they don't really go on very well, so I would definitely recommend painting those. And then for the marking stickers, we really don't have a lot. We just have a couple of EFF logo markings and then a couple of 03 markings around on the kit, on the shoulders, and on the shield as well. You do have options for the 03. There's like two different fonts of the 03. I went with this one, not for any particular reason, but that's just how I chose to do it. Now the head can move up quite far. You can see it kind of goes up like that. We have a joint there in the neck which will allow you for a pretty good upward mobility, and you can point it down to there, so up and down movement at the neck is pretty fair, nothing really too crazy. Here in the stomach section we have a nice stomach crunch all the way to there, forward and back, side to side, also pretty nice, and then of course rotation, no problems there. The shoulder joint doesn't really want to swing forward and backward all that much. You can see if you kind of pull it out, pull the polycap out just a bit, you can sort of get that as much as it's going to go, but that's really not all that much. Upwards though is going to be no problem at all, as that polycap is swinging up, and then you can get the arm up very high, basically to 90 degrees or 180 degrees. As for the exam mode, this little bit in the shoulder here slides out just a tiny bit. It's a little minor gimmick, but it does give you something. It is kind of loose, so I feel like if you're having this posed in exam mode, and if you kind of touch it the wrong way, you'll just accidentally pop that back in. So we are going to have a seam line there on the top of the shoulder armor, a seam line here on the side of the forearm as well, unfortunately, but then we have some full rotation here at the top of the bicep, and then a nice full double joint here in the elbow. You can get that all the way up to there. The wrist, of course, just on a ball joint, and it's kind of an interesting design how that is like exposed there. How usually we have some sort of like cap over like the end of the arm there. It's just a little bit different design. I find that it's just a really small point, but a very interesting point in the design of this mobile suit. And as you noticed a few minutes ago, the backpack fell off, and it does fall off quite easily. So this is like the main backpack. This is what you get like just with the regular Unit 1. And then the new backpack parts for this, which is quite nice, I will say. I like the different molded parts there for the little thruster bells. on that, but that just plugs into there, and it's not a really strong connection, so I would definitely recommend, if you're going to be painting the kit and doing all that, just gluing that in to make sure that doesn't fall off on you later on. But I like the extra bulk that adds to the backpack, and especially looking at it like from the bottom, you have the vents and then the thrusters all there. It looks pretty cool. It looks nice and bulky. Down here in the front skirts, those can be clipped to move separately all the way up to there. No problems with that. Side skirts as well can move up to about there. So you can get the leg all the way out to the side. No problems there. As it is a high grade, we don't have any movement in the back skirt in this case. That front skirt not going to be getting in the way of the leg at all. You can bring the leg all the way up to there. A nice double bend in the knee for a really full bend there. One design aspect of this kit that I don't really like is these front ankle armor pits here, how they're just so large and kind of like cover half the foot. I don't really like that, but anyway, those can move on their own. The whole foot itself will move forward to there, back to there. There is a little bit of toe movement up, but not down at all, so the feet will always just be flat. But you can see we do have some pretty nice detail up underneath the feet. There are some hollow spaces in there as well, though unfortunately ankle movement side to side is going to be pretty good like that. But as you could see there just a moment ago, we do have a seam going through the ankle armor as well. So let me split that apart a little bit again so you can see that. Yeah, there's going to be a seam right down the middle of that. Shouldn't be the most difficult thing to get rid of, but that is there as well. Otherwise, all the other seam lines on the legs can be hidden. Here on the back of the leg, it's just a panel line, but it does go through this little vent detail at the bottom, so you might want to do something about that. Here on the upper leg, the thigh, that's just disguised as a panel line, so no worries there. And then just going back up to the head, the seam line is hidden on the side and then on the top of the head as it just kind of blends into the detail there, but on the kind of this little portion here, there will be a seam just going through that part on like the top side of the head there, so you'll have a little bit of seam on the head as well. Now let's go through some of the extra parts and accessories and things that we get with this kit. So just a couple of extra parts that we have left over. We have all of the inner parts of the shield, but then we don't have the exterior part of the ground type shield. So while it may seem like it's missing the most important part, you could use these inner parts to just kind of cut this off here and just attach these inner parts into the inner part of some other shield and then make that useful for this kit. For this little red part there at the bottom of the cockpit hatch, we do also have the same part here molded in yellow, I guess if you just wanted to do that. Of course, if you paint it, it's not really an issue, but if you're not painting, it's one little tiny custom modification, I guess, that you could make with that. For the eyes, I've got the red sticker on there, but behind that is just a clear red part. Then we do also have a clear green part for the eyes as well. So if you want to use an actual clear part for the eyes instead of using the sticker and then just paint like the black around there or something, you can do that and you have that molded in clear red and clear green. Now on the kit, currently I have its two holding hands, and the hands are a little bit interesting for this kit. They're new hands, but you gotta wonder what is really so different from the old hands, because we have the complete set of the old hands as well. It's barely noticeable, but the new hands are a rounded finger type, like Xeon style, and then the old hands are a square finger type. It's on the closed fist, it's barely noticeable, but you do have that option, I guess, if you didn't like the rounded type fingers, and you prefer the square ones, you could use those. And then as far as other option hands go, we only just have one more open hand for the left, and that's it. So again, here's the rounded type one, and here's the square type one, so you can just choose maybe whichever one you'd prefer. But for the sake of the review, I'll use the ones that are meant to go with the kit, the rounded type hands. We have our two clear pink beam saber effect parts, with the beam saber handles being stored there in the side of the leg. We have these option vents here for the backpack. These are for the original backpack, so they're really not particularly going to be used with this kit, but it's just if you want to ditch that new backpack parts and use this, you just kind of take off that part, swap that part to have the vents open up like so. Okay, and then we've got just the standard machine gun here. This is something we've seen many times. This stock will fold back like so. The secondary handle will fold out like so. The ammo pack can be removed, and we do have the two extra ammo packs that are on the side skirts there if you wanted to do anything with that, but there's nothing really too special really to do with that. This cannot be attached anywhere on the kit when not in use, so it's either just handheld or not at all. The same thing for all of the weapons except for the beam saber, of course, being stored in the leg. There's nowhere to really store these anywhere on the kit, so you may want to do some modifications if you want to do that. For the beam rifle here, we do have a little sticker for that, for the camera there. And as you can see, it's just a pretty nice looking standard like Ground Gundam style beam rifle, and the secondary handle on that one will also move like so. And the new weapon, which is one of the main reasons why I wanted to get this kit, is the twin beam cannon. Now this one is really cool. It's of course going to be very similar to the full armor Gundam's beam twin beam cannon, double beam cannon, whatever you want to call it, the little camera on the top will move like that. We have a nice little yellow part in there for that. This kind of attaches onto the arm. You have to plug this part onto the side and then drop this part down into the hand and connect them like so. And then we do also have this shield here as well, which has a few stickers on there. Very simple, just 1, 2, 3 parts, and then one little connection part here just to connect that onto the side of the arm. Again, kind of no frills, very simple, but it has a lot of really nice detail on the inside. If you want to paint that in, or at least go in there with some Panaline wash to bring out those details, that'll look pretty nice. A lot of wide open surface here on the front to go in and add some details, add some custom markings, paint, whatever you want to do to kind of spice up the shield if that's your flavor. So last thing I'll just show you here, to get the beam saber handle out of the leg, you just kind of fold that open. You can have it just kind of to look like it's supposed to be open like that, but basically you just kind of pull this off, pull out the beam saber handle, and then just close that back up and connect your beam saber effect part into there, and there you go. You can just handhold that, no issues. So while I am really pleased with the kit overall, just in terms of its part separation and details and just the overall construction and articulation of it is really quite nice, and I felt that with the Unit 1, but I think it's just the Unit 1. One thing that is really just didn't really float for me was just the all blue color. It was just something that I'm not too into, so I definitely like the design a lot better in these colors. Of course you can paint, so the color really doesn't matter too much at all. The other thing about the design that really just doesn't really do it for me is just the stockiness of it. It just doesn't really have, it's not really to the proportions that are to my personal taste. But again, the main thing is that it is a really, really nice kit. So while the proportions don't really fit to my personal taste, I would definitely highly recommend this kit to any of you guys who do like what you see in the design, because if you like what you see, then you're going to like what you get. Another very important point to be made about this kit, and why I think this is probably the best of the three, is just the weapon options that you have for it. The fact that you have 3 different guns that you have to choose from, the beam sabers and of course the shield. I mean, that's a pretty good amount of different options that you have for this kit, and you're probably only going to use one of those guns. As I said, they don't attach onto anywhere on the actual mobile suit, so whatever you end up not using, you'll have extra guns to give to other kits or whatever you want to do with those. So it's always nice to have that option, as well as the fact that you have kind of 2 different modes for this kit that you have to choose from. There's not really going to be a whole lot really noticeable difference. You slide the shoulder armor out a little bit, you open up the leg vents at the base of the legs a little bit, and you kind of have the red eyes and cameras if you want to have it in exam mode. That's pretty much it. It's really not all that noticeable, but I think if you were going to paint, you could maybe paint some sort of different effect about it. You can maybe do like your pre-shading or something in like a kind of tone to make it look like it's in exam mode or something like that. So that's always an option that you could do as well. But in terms of just the options that you have with this kit, I think they're quite high, and that definitely adds to the value of the kit. Alright, and so I guess to wrap up the review, basically there's not really much in the way of negatives to point out about the kit. There's a few seam lines, you know, that's a normal thing for a high grade. There's a couple of annoying stickers, another just kind of normal trait of a high grade. So if you're just looking for a solid high grade with just kind of the normal downfalls that you would come to expect at this point, then look no further, fella, you found him. A couple things that I did forget to point out to you guys before concerning the double beam rifle is that can be used on either the right or the left hand. The attachment point of where like the kind of the handheld part of the rifle attaches onto the part that attaches onto the side of the arm, that can be connected either onto the top or the bottom, which means that you could use that on either the right or the left side. The other thing is that the big main shield can be attached onto the side of the double beam rifle as well. So you could kind of attach that on there for like a super shield, very full armor looking kind of gun. And especially if you were happen to get 2 of these, then you could have that kind of double stacked on each side of the arm there, looking pretty cool, I would have to imagine. So that's definitely something that you could do with this if you wanted to get a little bit more bulky in this and make a sort of like semi sort of full armor looking, or at least a kind of heavier version of this Gundam. You could definitely do that by adding some more firepower to it, and I think that'd be a pretty cool look. That said, what do you guys think about the kit? Did you get it already? Are you planning on getting it? Has your mind changed about the kit at all during the course of this review? Let me know down below. Of course, any other questions or comments you guys may have about the kit, also leave those down below in the comment section as well. And again, shop at USA Gundam Store. Check the link down below to their site in the description. If you guys had to choose between the 3, which one is your favorite variant of the Unit 1, Unit 2, and the Unit 3? I think the Unit 3 is my favorite, but I'm curious to know which one you guys like the most. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hey!
thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you want to check the kit out for yourself, you can head over to USA Gundam Store. Use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10. Save yourself 10%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.